Today on the channel, things are big and full of rubber with the big rubber guys, Danhausen.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here. Welcome back to the channel for another Big Rubber Guys unboxing and review. And today on the channel, we got the 101,000 MajorBendies.com exclusive Danhausen. But for all your Danhausen needs, better hit up MajorBendies.com. Tell them Kyle sent you. Of course, no discount codes that I know of over there. But I have heard he is running low, and they've only made 1,000 of these. So once he's gone forever. Maybe a repaint in the future, you never do know, but it's interesting to get a current wrestler in the Big Rubber Guys. And it's not the first time. We've got Matt, we've got Brian, we've got All Ego, Ethan Page, the Hardys, which classic and modern, obviously. But Danhausen, a true working wrestler right now. This isn't an old Hall of Famer or anything like that. So some modern talent, but makes a lot of sense to put him in the line. Say what you want about Danhausen. He creates money, as we can see on my shirt right here. Merch all day long and twice on Sunday. Have to imagine there'll be a lot of autograph versions of this one in the future out there. But one of 1,000, so speak now or forever hold your peace. And this one a little bit different in the Danhausen department, as I guess it's Bret Hitman Hart-inspired gear. So we'll take a little bit of a look at this one. And I will say the Collect Major group, Major Bendies, Big Rubber Guys, whatever we want to call them here, they just put this up on their website and bam, you know, it's up and available. It's not a long pre-order process. Now, they do have the pre-order process. We've seen that a lot. It sounds like bad news in the Rock and Roll Express should be here anytime now. Earl Hebner, the Macho King, should be here anytime now. So we got a lot of Big Rubber Guys on the way, but they just put this up. It's midnight and hey, it's in stock, ready to ship. And that leads us to this unboxing. And of course, we're going to do this unboxing like we do all the other unboxings on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. So without further ado, see what old Danhausen's up to right here. Salt of the earth Danhausen, of course. A good friend of the channel. Maybe not. I said hi to him at San Diego Comic-Con once. I did get a picture with him many years ago at a local event. But Danhausen seems to be a good guy for all intents and purposes. And he's an action figure collector, which is always a bonus in my book, of course. But we do got the traditional packaging style with these figures here. Much, much sturdier plastic on these. We've had a few break over the years. Last year, what is time once again? Not anymore. A better plastic system on these. So I do love that. Constant learning, constant improvement. Stop me if you've heard that before. But better packaging on these than back in the day when they first began. Major Bendies presents, of course, Big Rubber Guys. Danhausen got the artwork right there. Major Wrestling Figure Podcast up in the corner. Branding, branding, branding. It's all about branding every day. Big Rubber Guys up there on the corner. Nothing too fun on the sides of this one. And then on the back, we got the big cross sell. No blurb for Danhausen. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Todd McFarlane, I think the Big Rubber Guys, they need somebody to write the copyright back here, and I will do it. I will do it free of charge. Let me put my spin on the back of it. Maybe not, but it'd be fun. It'd be fun to write the copyright here. But man, oh man, talk about a checklist back here. This isn't even every character, I don't believe, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it is. I don't know. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of Big Rubber Guys, and I'm trying to rethink now with knowing the future and them having the AEW license now. I'm looking at my space. I got like 3 Detolfs for Big Rubber Guys and, of course, the traditional LJNs. Now I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to have to move to something else because that's going to fill up. Nice thing about LJNs, nice thing about Hasbro, they're done. Nice thing about Jakks, they're done. You know the space you need, you know the space you have, but when you're collecting Mattel, Big Rubber Guys, KWK, Zombie Sailors, Grapplers and Gimmicks, figure collections, whatever it may be, we don't know when those are ending, so it's hard to plan some of your space sometimes. So I got to figure that out in the next 6 months or so because I'm running out of real estate real quick over there. Time for a bigger house. You're right, Todd McFarlane. Who knows? Maybe we'll work into something like that. Or maybe a nice apartment. Maybe a nice townhouse is probably what I should do. I should probably buy, not rent. Yeah, you're right. You're right. We'll look into that maybe. We'll see what happens there. But let's dive into it in the back here a little bit more. Major Bendies. It says trademark 2024, which is interesting. I think this was announced like a year ago at San Diego Comic-Con, and now here we are about a year later finally getting this out here. But man, oh man, quite the cross sell back here. Just amazing how many figures they have come out with in a relatively short amount of time here, but we're going to get old Danhausen out of the package. There he is. He's cursing somebody from a distance is what he's doing here. Pop that bad boy out. Going to put a nice gentle off to the side. See you later, because I do save the packaging on these for now until I have to build a house just for my big rubber guys packaging, possibly. But we got Danhausen out of the package here. Let's look at the face first. Looks like Danhausen. Somebody hands me this head all day long. I know that. There's Danhausen. I know who that is. He's got the black paint around his hair and on his ears. Always looks a little funny to me when he doesn't have, or he's got part of his hair covered with the black. You got the ears covered with the black, and then you got his regular hair color there. It's always interesting dynamic when you see that, but it is lifelike. It is true to form there. But looks good in the face paint there. No problems with that. Got a nice smile on him. Got that $1 million smile going on right there. Now getting to the body here, of course, Danhausen, a littler guy. This isn't Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner for sure, but they do got his tattoos on there, and some of these I do remember. I am by no means an expert staring at Danhausen's tattoos. I would think he's probably even got more tattoos than these is my guess. But he has got some of the iconic ones, including that big one in the chest right there, looking real good there. He is cut up. He's got abs of steel going on. Watch out for those. Like I said, he is doing the curse hands right there, and it'll be interesting to see if we get a repeat Danhausen in the future. Have to think they'll repaint this one in more of his traditional gear. Maybe, maybe not. I guess we'll see what ends up happening. But looking down in the lower half, that's where things change around a little bit. We got, I guess, the Bret Hart-inspired gear. So instead of the hearts, you got the teeth going on the side. You got the Danhausen faces there. You got his tattoo on his butt. You got the very nice, very evil on the shoes. I love that. And then you got a little bit of the hypnosis going on in the boots as well, as you see in his entrance, of course, when he does come out to wrestle. Red tights on with black piping around it. Looking pretty good here. Now, of course, no articulation, so we don't need to run through the articulation on this one. This one wouldn't be the greatest playability, but we've seen way worse playability figures from, of course, LJN back in the day. And whenever I get this, I always think back to when I was a little kid. I always like to do that. If I had this with my LJNs, would this be a playable character? And I think for the most part, he'd be pretty playable. You got the dreaded eye poke right there. You got always the usual drop kicks, things like that. Clotheslines, maybe even a little claw action. I think there's enough to get by here to have him as a good player, unlike that ravishing Rick Rude. And speaking of the AEW Major Bendies in the future, Big Rubber Guys, of course, Major Bendies is the company. Big Rubber Guys, I can see them doing the Orange Cassidy in the future. It really writes itself with them like ravishing Rick Rude. I could see that happening. I mean, you put the hands in the pockets there. I think it'd be a nice tribute, but man, oh man, when I was a kid, I've told the story a million times. Hated that Rick Rude so much, I told my dad, I don't even want it. Don't even want it in my collection. And I'm not one, you guys know me, I'm not one to turn down an action figure. But I said, that Rick Rude, there's nothing I could do with it. It's a waste of time for me. So I passed on it. But Orange Cassidy, I can see them doing that in the future. We'll see what happens there. But Danhausen looking good. No issues with this Danhausen. I think he gets the point across. It's definitely interesting gear. I'm not sure if he's wore this gear yet. I think he has. I think he's only worn it a couple times. But I think he had the gear before the figure, and it was kind of all work in progress together with that, which is always pretty cool. Big Rubber Guys in 2024 on the foot on this one again. So there was a delay somewhere along the way with this one. I don't know exactly the specifics of that, but I'm guessing there was a delay. Be it the tariffs, Todd McFarlane, or maybe shipping issues, factory issues, whatever it may have been. I feel like this should have been out last year, but here we are, better late than never in 2025 with the old Danhausen. He's ready to curse everybody if you're not careful there. But there's the Danhausen Big Rubber Guys, short and sweet. What's your guys' thoughts on this one? Worth the pickup? Long game? No game? It's not the no game. Don't tell me that. But if you are going to do a game with this one, you better head over to Collect Major, majorbendies.com. Pick this guy up because dwindling supply, and when it's gone. You're stuck to the secondary market. So check out Danhausen if you do need it. And of course, check out this channel. Make sure you subscribe to both my YouTube channels. Check out YouTube channel memberships. Check out the Patreon for tons of bonus content each and every single day. Appreciate all the support over there. Sir Paul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and of course the Kyle Peterson Show at gmail.com, which is my podcast each and every week, every single Tuesday, wherever podcasts are found with video cast on YouTube. Break it all down over there on the Kyle Peterson Show. So that's it for Danhausen, Big Rubber Guy. I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?